Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. We're back at it. First things first, let's get a message pinned. Good morning. The journey to becoming a Go developer continues. If you are. Hey, what's up? I love Lamp. Thanks for being a member, man. Appreciate you. Pin that message. All right. I think that's the only housekeeping we had to do this morning. Now we can pull up learn Go with Tess. And if I remember right, we were on context. Yeah, context. And we were like we were pretty far along in this one. We were Hola, buenos dias. Hola, buenos dias to you too. ¿Cómo estás? Where was I? I think I was pretty far down here, right? Yeah, we were right here. This is where we were. Okay. Again, I don't want to show negatively in the chat, but I lost friends on Discord again since apparently I didn't boost their server. Well, that's pretty shitty friends, man. I wouldn't call those people friends then, man. You know what I mean? Oh no. My OAuth token didn't refresh. Yeah, those seem like hucksters is what those guys seem like. You know what I mean? They seem a lot of hucksters. Because boosting a server... yeah. Yes, subscribe and like for bug-free code. I'm going to pin that message. Let's see. Yeah, because boosting a server requires money, right? Because that just seems like they're kind of like greedy people who are trying to take advantage of others. You know what I mean? I mean, it's one thing to ask people to do something. It's another thing to like withhold your friendship over it. But hopefully this morning will go better for you. You know, you can hang out with us, you can work on your projects, do whatever. Don't even have to stay here, you know? $5 or $3, by the way, for one boost. I find a site selling them $3 for 4 boosts. Nice. Yeah, I mean, you know. Hey, what's up, Arrow? Good morning, sir. How are you doing? But yeah, I love Lamp. You don't owe anybody any money, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you work hard for your money. You don't gotta give it away. If somebody was like, hey, boost my server, I won't be your friend, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. I think we were here, weren't we? Package.test.go. We need to... Oh, look, Stream Elements has entered the chat. Okay, let's put some fluids down first. You know, this is going to be an intense learning session, so we have to hydrate. Hmm. The other thing I should probably check before we get going is I should probably check and make sure there are no membership updates. Okay, we did lose 2 members, so we should probably update the membership file. Let's do that really quick. Hi, Stream Elements. I've missed you. I can't believe that service is free. You know, what a like, whoever built that, like, what a cool service. I mean, they have paid features too, but the fact that somebody could start streaming and basically get everything they need just by using their free tier, it's pretty wild. Okay, we need to update I'm just gonna update the list of members really quick, and then we'll dive into the Go parts. Excuse me. There we go. IIRC Nightbot is the same, except I use it and it's so slow. Well, I was using Nightbot, but I can't figure out how to fix Nightbot. Like, I still have a Nightbot account, and like if I go to my Nightbot dashboard, I can still see that Nightbot is here and listening to everyone's commands and shit, but I can't figure out how to make it respond to messages. It's the wildest thing. Okay. So what we were doing with the context is we were getting ready to refactor our code a bit so that we could basically actually cancel the store. So let's go ahead and copy the interface. And let's go to package.go under the context directory. And we need to update the interface. That. And are we supposed to remove the? Yeah, we're supposed to remove the cancel method, and then we're just gonna let the context be responsible. And then we're also gonna delete the server implementation. And we're gonna update our spy store. So we've got a little bit of work to do. So we're gonna delete all this. We're gonna go to our spy store. I got OhmyZSH on my Mac terminal. It's clean. Yes, OhmyZSH is so good. You know what I mean? It's so good. I've got it on my Linux stuff. I don't have and I've got it on my MacBook, my MacBook Pro, but I don't really use my MacBook Pro much. But yeah, OhmyZSH is so good. Which plugins? Did you add any plugins? You gotta have some plugins, right? These are the ones that I use basically. Or yeah, these are ZSH plugins, aren't they? I thought I had some OhmyZSH plugins. Vim, OhmyZSH. can I get your full ZSH/oh my ZSH config? I want to try it out. I'm pretty sure most of it's just the base one. Let me see. I don't think I really changed much about it. Yeah, I don't think I changed. I mean, a lot of this is just the basic out of the box one. I mean, I did set up the Git plugin, the ZSH plugin, the ZSH syntax plugin. There's some environment variables I set for the ZSH auto suggest, but I think that's about it for ZSH. Let's see. Oh my posh. The theme I'm using is, where's that set up here? Yeah. I'm just using the Robbie Russell theme. Or I mean, sorry, the Agnoster theme. And I didn't change anything about this. So basically, if you just install ZSH, install Oh My ZSH, add or select the Agnoster theme, you'll basically have exactly what I have. XYZ, hello. Pure theme, nice, very cool. Yeah, ZSH is not on Windows. So Oh My ZSH really is more of like the Linuxy Mac world. But I was just kind of showing Arrow that like I fuck with it too. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm glad you got that set up, dude. That's a lot of fun. XYZ, good morning, good morning, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, this looks like quite a beefy method here. So what's this method doing? Let's see, what is this method doing? I don't need this anymore. I don't think I need these anymore. Turns out you can also use it with Cygwin for it. Nice. Very cool. Okay, what did he do with this spy store? So he's got a channel that he's making that takes strings. He's running a Go routine where what's happening here? So the server, he basically waits for the server's responses. And he has a small timeout, a small delay, about 10 millisecond delay. Then he sends the results, or he adds the server's response to a result string that he's building up here. And then once all the response is received, he sends the result to the data channel. Then he listens with a select statement. He says basically, if context is done first, return the error, or if the response, or if you receive the data first, return that as the response or result. So it's basically just a race between this server response or the cancellation being done. Is what's happening there. So how does he plan to assert that it was canceled? That's my question. So we have to make our spy act like a real method that works with context. We are simulating a slow process where we build the result slowly by appending the string character by character in a Go routine. When the Go routine finishes its work, it writes the string to the data channel. The Go routine listens for the context not done and will stop the work if a signal is sent in that channel. Then finally we use the select to race to whichever one's going to finish first. it's similar to our approach from before. We use Go's concurrency primitives to make two asynchronous processes race each other to determine what we returned. You'll have a similar approach in writing your own functions and methods that accept a context, so make sure you understand what's going on. I understand what's going on, okay? Stop yelling at me. Finally, we can update our tests, comment out our cancellation tests so we can fix the happy path test. Okay, so fix the happy path. Okay. And he said to comment this out, I think. So we'll go over here, we'll just say go test. Oh no, it failed. Got empty string want hello world. Okay, why didn't that work? I've done something horribly wrong. Oh no, that's what we expected. Write enough code to make it pass. That's because the server is not doing anything. Okay, so we need to implement the server. Hey, what's up, King Beans? I'm just gonna say Beans. I don't think that's actually how you say your username, but what's up, King? Hold on, let me try your PowerShell 7 theme again. Yeah, man, give it a go. Power level 10K is a good theme. Good to know, good to know. Yeah, a lot of the themes are good. I just don't have the patience to sit there and tinker with the colors in a theme. You know what I mean? I want someone with a better design aesthetic to just do it for me. Write the test first. We need to test that we do not write any kind of response on the error case. Sadly, HTTP test.response recorder doesn't have a way of figuring this out, so we'll have to roll our own SPI to test for this. Well, I don't know if I like that. There's got to be a package that does that for us. Okay, so we have a SPI that's a response writer. It has a variable called bool, and essentially it's going to have a header method, a write method, and a write header method. And all it's looking to do is, if one of these methods are called, it's basically going to set that written to true. Okay. The problem though is, we should probably verify that this SPI actually does what we think it does, right? So let's come up here. Let's dump our SPI code, or SPI response writer here. And then let's uncomment this stuff. WCKD Studio, thanks for subbing. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. I felt like I was on the radio there for a second saying your username. Hey, Artwork Studios, good to see you. And DOS console? Does anybody really want to go back to a DOS console? I never used one, but I don't know, it doesn't sound like fun. So I'm chilling. Alright, our response was indeed written. Okay, that's good. So now can we cancel it after 15 milliseconds and it won't? Write enough code to make it pass. Return. Log error however you like. I don't even want to log the error. I'm just going to swallow it. Good morning, Arvin. Good to see you. All the familiar faces are meeting up in chat this morning. I like it. I like it. Oh, Brand Stark's here. Nice. Steven, what's your favorite DoorDash meal? Man, I'm a 32-year-old dad too. I don't order DoorDash. You know how expensive that shit is? I just get in the car and go get it myself. You know? That DoorDash shit is expensive, man. I got colleges to pay for. Can't be spending money on DoorDash. It's just too easy too, man. DoorDash is too easy. You end up spending way too much money way too often. Mine is either beef, chicken tenders, or anything like that. Any burger. That sounds good. I mean, the food you can get from DoorDash is good. It's just too expensive. Facts. Dude, the fact that the three-eyed raven orders DoorDash is pretty baller, though. What about 3 gigabits per second? Is that expensive? It's not terrible. It's I think it's right at $100 a month. My internet at my old place with AT&T was 1 gig, and it was like $70-ish a month. So the 3 gigs is about 100. But I mean, it's that could be seen as expensive. You know what I mean? I mean, that's fair. But, you know, life comes down to making decisions about the things you value. I value high-speed internet, and I kind of need it because I work from home. But I don't value overly priced DoorDash food prices. So I try not to spend money on things I don't value. You know what I mean? We can see after this that the server code has become simplified as it's no longer explicitly responsible for cancellation. It simply passes through context and relies on the downstream functions to respect any cancellations that may occur. Wonderful. What about context.value? Mikhail Striba and I have a similar opinion. If you use ctx.value in my non-existent company, you're fired. Hey, good morning, Mason. I got up early today, started a course on Udemy. Wonderful, man. Well, get that course. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'll learn Go, you learn your course, and we'll have ourselves a good morning. Good to see you, man. To be honest, 1 gigabyte per second is already insanely fast. Yeah, it's fairly fast, but I figured, hey, for $30 extra, I can get 3 times the bandwidth. I'll take that, you know? 3 times the speed. I will live stream when I build my first PC. Go for it, dude. Yeah, there's no reason not to, you know? I mean, the thing about streaming, this thing about making content in general is that you think a lot of people are going to care. And the fact is that the fact of the matter is, like, of the 9 billion people on the planet, no one's really going to care. So, like, there's nothing to be self-conscious about. You should just make the content you want to make, and the people who enjoy it will find their way to you, and the people who don't will find their way to other people's content. You know what I mean? My SIM card is 100 gigabytes per month and it's $10. That's pretty nice. I've never had to pay, at least for a while now, I haven't ever had to pay like a certain dollar fee for so much data per month. My phone bill is just like a flat rate for unlimited data, which is a pretty nice deal, I feel like. Mason's dapping in the chat. Let's go. Some engineers have advocated for passing values through context as it feels convenient. Convenience is often the cause of bad code. Yep, I'm saving that one because that actually that statement that statement convenience is often the cause of bad code goes beyond software and programming. Convenience is often the cause of a bad life. Oh man, that's that's one worth putting in the notepad. Do you know AppleScript? I do not know AppleScript. I haven't done really much on the Mac side of things on the development side. I haven't used AppleScript. I haven't done anything with Swift. Objective-C I haven't done anything with. Maybe one day before I hang up my programming skills, I'll take a jaunt down the Mac ecosystem side of the development toolchain. Rogerio, thanks for subbing. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. The problem with context.value is that it's just an untyped map. So you have no type safety and you have to handle it not actually containing your value. You have to create a coupling of map keys from one module to another, and if someone changes something, things start to break. Yeah, this is like a big bag of data. In short, if a function needs some values, put them as type parameters rather than trying to fetch them from context.value. This makes it statically checked and documented for everyone to see. But on the other hand, it can be helpful to include information that is orthogonal to a request in a context, such as a trace ID. Potentially, this information would not be needed by every function in your call stack and would make your functional signatures very messy. Jack Lindamood says context.value should inform, not control. The content of context.value is for maintainers, not users. It should never be required input for documented or expected results. All right, here we go. Black Dot. As a fresher, I kind of got an interview scheduled on a big company, and I'm betting all my stakes on one of my well-structured ongoing projects. I don't know if I should keep doing it or prep DSA. Well, first off, congratulations on your interview. Let's see. I think you should do whichever one feels right to you. I really don't know, given the context, like what the company is, the role you're interviewing for. If you feel like you want to just kind of hammer home this project that you built and speak to it and what you've learned from it, go for it. But if you feel like it's going to be more LeetCode heavy, then I'd probably do DSA. It's just up to you. You know, you got to follow your gut. I trust your decision. I would use a MacBook Pro any day over Windows. Really? Well, I mean, it's not like an M4 MacBook Pro sitting over there. It's a MacBook Pro, like, circa 2018. You know what I mean? So it's an older computer. And it's by far not as capable of a machine as what I'm working with this G9. So it's all relative, you know? OS advertising. How are you finding Go so far? I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's some of the formatting choices they've made I don't like too terribly much, but that is what it is. The only thing that I've really taken issue or had like a visceral reaction to was naked returns with named return parameters. That's the only thing I've been like, no, I hate it. Check my message above for my PC specs. Sounds like a beefy machine you got there. Sorry, the music died. Oh, well, my M2 is a lifesaver. Wonderful, man. Hey, you use the tools you like. You know, you like Mac, you like M2 Macs, you like Intel-based Macs. Although I don't know why you would use an Intel-based Mac nowadays, because you'd be on some old hardware. But yeah, you know, you do you. All right. Some companies will ask you to do the Roman numeral kata as part of the interview process. This chapter will show you how you can tackle it with TDD. We are going to write a function which converts an Arabic number 0 to 9, to a Roman numeral. If you haven't heard of Roman numerals, they are how the Romans wrote down numbers. You build them by sticking symbols together, and those symbols represent numbers. So I is 1, I is 3. Seems easy, but there's a few interesting rules. V means 5, but IV is 4, not I. MCMLXXXIV is 1984. That looks complicated, and it's hard to imagine how we can write code to figure this out right from the start. As this book stresses, a key skill for software developers is to try and identify thin vertical slices of useful functionality and then iterating. This is actually kind of hard to do. This takes practice. Try and identify thin vertical slices of useful functionality. That's actually like a difficult skill. Especially like when you're looking at a requirement that somebody's written or a product spec that somebody's written. Sometimes it's really hard to separate the slices, define the slices. Sometimes it just looks like one big thick slice. So rather than 1984, let's start with 1. All right, let's get set up here. So we'll go Roman numerals package test.go. I got it via referral for Next.js and Nest. He didn't mention the interview process. Like, I don't want to waste this by messing up in DSA round if they have it. Well, if they're interested in someone who knows Next.js, I would much more focus on knowing that technology stack than I would DSA than if it was me. I mean, you could still make the wrong decision, but that seems like a more informed decision than the alternative. And then if they do bring up DSA stuff and you don't do well, just explain, man. Just be like, hey, I'm really sorry. I thought this interview was going to be primarily focused on these 2 technologies that we previously talked about. I didn't do a whole lot of practice on data structure and algorithms. If this is important to the job, I would be more than willing to, get up to speed, right, and refresh my skills and knowledge around this area. Like I think sometimes when people are in interviews, they think of interviews as like they're back in school and they're talking to the professor. And you're not. Like, in an interview, you're a free human being with the ability to speak. And so you can say just about anything you want, right? You don't have to just sit there. Like, if you're struggling in an exercise, you don't just have to sit there and let them beat you up. Like, you have a voice, right? So you can speak up and explain, right? So I think your plan is a good plan. Focus on the project, go into the interview, do the best you can. If they bring up a lot of data structure algorithm stuff, just explain your case. On a SIM internet card here, you can get functionality 300 plus gigs per month for approximately 30 cents. Only clocked enough to download tutorial videos. I didn't ever think about that. So some people pay for internet usage on a metered basis. Very interesting. Why is it so hard to find people who need websites and Discord servers? 90% of people in servers are developers looking for work. Yeah, for sure. Freelancing's hard. It's super competitive, and there's lots of people doing it. Lots of agencies doing it that can do it for cheaper and faster than what a lot of individual freelancers can do it, just because they have systems in place. And a lot of times it turns into a race to the bottom, especially if you're dealing with like small business owners or people who, you know, they're budget conscious. So yeah, not the easiest thing to break into. And I also think people just nowadays, if you want a website for your small business, I think a lot of people just initially reach for stuff like Squarespace and um, WordPress because it's something they can manage themselves, gets them like 80% of the way to what they were looking for, and they don't really have to pay anyone anything. So it's just kind of a different, it's kind of a difficult, it's a difficult space I feel like to operate in, right? This like freelancer static website type of business. Seems like it would, if you're interested in doing freelance work, it seems like some sort of AI engineering agency would be a good space to be in because people are pretty incompetent, or not incompetent, but pretty ignorant in that space. But they know it could be useful to their business, especially like small businesses. You're dealing like with like mom and pops, that don't. They hear about it, they hear that you can do cool things with it, but they're not really sure where to start. And there aren't a lot of great like no code, low code alternatives for them. Have a good dinner, Artwork Studios. Dine well. Black Dot. Thank you, man. Of course, yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't want you to feel like you're going into the interview and you don't have any power in the situation, because you do. You do have power in those situations. A business to make Discord servers? Interesting. Keep that in mind. There's an interview tactic to ask you bullshit questions, then shame you into juniority, then price you down. That's fucked up. Yeah, that's fucked up. What cool things could AI provide to a local company? The two use cases that I see that seem the most compelling to me are basically handling like inbound leads. So these would be things like emails or voicemails. Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you don't have enough money to have like a dedicated receptionist, or you don't have enough time to have a dedicated admin, right? So you as the business owner are, you're fielding all the calls, or you're answering all the emails at the end of the day that came in. These businesses where you're both the service provider, but you're also like the sales and marketing department, right? Which are two completely different jobs and they require full-time attention. So I think AI is kind of interesting because it has that natural language ability, right? So you could theoretically have it initiate somewhat of a conversation with a lead, whether it be over voicemail or through email. You could have it like initiate some conversation about potentially scheduling like a meeting for whatever the service you are in. Doesn't have to be super complex either. It can just be, hi, I'm such and such, and you could disclose that it's AI, right? And just disclose that like this is the assistant we use to book our meetings for interested parties. So that's one use case that seems pretty compelling, because that's a lot of work. I mean, you guys wouldn't believe, like, when you have a small business, you spend all day delivering your service, and then at the end of the day you have to wrap up by returning calls, right? Or returning emails. So it would be nice if you could just have something that puts appointments on your calendars for interested people. What was the second use case I was thinking of? It was on the top of my head and then I lost it. But just, I mean, really anything that you could like automate or inject LLMs into that could help them, you know? You could offer like a consultancy service where like you come into their business and you like analyze their business processes and see what might be good candidates for it and what isn't. Give them like a recommendation. That could even be like your free offering to like get leads. Like we'll come in and do an AI evaluation, business evaluation or something like that. But that to me that just seems so much more compelling than saying like, well, I'll build you a static website, you know? All right, maybe not compelling is the right word. Less competitive, I think is what I'm looking for. Arvin, I meant there is a SIM card internet package. You pay approximately 30 cents. It is unlimited, but you get the first 100 gigabytes high speed. After that, the speed will be 500 kilobytes per second-ish, enough to download 300 gigs in a month. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize that internet access was metered like that in places. At least that's not how my internet is. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. One sec. All right, we're gonna solve the Roman numeral kata. How exciting! I'm pretty sure I've done this one before. I think I did this one on Code Wars or maybe Leak Code or something. I think I've done this before. Maybe Free Code Camp. Let's actually just get ahead of this and let's say, oh, he's probably gonna have me turn this into a table test, isn't he? Let's see, go test, that's gonna break because it's undefined. Hey, what's up, Veds? Good to see you, man. This package only works between 1 and 11 a.m. By the way, money strength is proportionally weak here. Ah, I see. Yeah, that kind of sucks to be limited to only do things between 1 and 11 a.m. That would kind of frustrate me. Your learning Go is done because you are in NeoVim again now? No. No. We're still learning Go. We're still learning Go. That's improv. But we're almost to the end of this course, and then we're gonna start doing some admin of code prep. I mean, this is all in preparation for admin of code, but we're gonna actually try to solve some problems with Go. Steven, does C# Word has something like JavaDoc? Not the JavaDoc itself, but the idiom of writing JavaDoc for your software. Let's see. I don't know what JavaDoc is. So let me educate myself first. They are placed, yes. We use, in C#, we use something called XML comments. That's how we add documentation to our C# code. And then you can generate API documentation from those XML comments. So Let me show you an example of this in my own GitHub. It's pretty handy, and there's a package, there's a library that will help you generate a documentation site essentially based on your that that comment metadata. So like, oh, that reminds me, I need to I actually need to republish this under a different namespace. I need to do that before the 14th. Yeah, so you add these types of comments. And then these can be used to generate documentation like this. Right? So this is my README, obviously. But then if I come over here, I can search for things like text, content, and now I have all that information from all that metadata. Obviously, the metadata of the type system in C#, but all the specific stuff I put on there, like the parameters, the exceptions it throws, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, C# has that. And I'm guessing maybe it was even inspired by JavaDoc. I don't know if JavaDoc existed before C#. Maybe that's where they took inspiration from. I wonder if it's better for me to find like actual competitions online and try to partake in those. Yeah, you for sure could. Yeah, it's not really my thing personally, like to compete. I just do Advent of Code because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside because it's cold outside and it's the holidays and it's Christmas themed and just kind of sets the mood for the time of the year. And it's solving problems with code, which is what I like to spend a lot of my free time doing. Arvin, in Java, important libs have JavaDocs. Makes it feel so enterprisey to know exactly where to find documentation. Yeah, I think if you're writing a library that you intend, if you're writing code that you intend or want other people to use, you got to have a good documentation, right? And even better if that documentation is available through things like IntelliSense, so that people can do like dot discovery and read about the different methods and properties. But yeah, a really nice documentation site that is kept in sync with your source code is just awesome. And TypeScript lets you do something very similar too. So obviously in TypeScript you can add TSDoc, JSDoc, whatever you want to call it. But there's a package or a tool out there that will allow you to do a very similar thing with a documentation site. So I have an example of that too. Let me find it really quick. Yeah, here we go. So if you go into some of my source code here, nope, not that file. Let's see, models, API response, right? So we've obviously got our JSDoc comment here, right? So we've got all the property information, constructor, parameter names, what it returns, all that stuff. And then the library I use is called, what is it called? I want to say it's like TSDoc, maybe? See if I can find it. I know you guys are waiting with bated breath to... Where's my package.json? Yeah, generate docs. It's called TypeDoc. That's the name of the tool. TypeDoc. And that allows you to produce a documentation site that looks like this. So it's kind of a similar idea, right? Have your README, and then it'll have references for all your API, for your types and classes and methods and all that good stuff. And it's searchable. So yeah, I kind of feel like that's a must-have if you're building a library. Just it seems like almost every language has it, right? They have some version of this. Good to see you again, Lamp. Good to see you again, Artwork Studios. Veds in Province said, the sub for bug-free code. Arvin, do community takes the idiom of actually writing these XML comments? Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. If you're working with a serious library in C Sharp, it's going to be littered with XML comments, and there's likely those XML comments can be used to generate documentation, but they also show up as IntelliSense in your editor of choice. So, yeah, if you're seriously making a library for other people to consume in the C Sharp ecosystem, you definitely want to have some dot comments in there. Yeah, if it was me and I was installing N8N, I would use Docker. I use Docker for just about everything, if I can. I love this. This is the part of TDD though that kind of it seems a little pedantic. It says write enough code to make it pass, and then it literally returns I. It's like I get the point you're trying to make, man, but we all know this isn't where we're gonna end up. I know, it feels weird just to hard code the result, but with TDD, we want to stay out of red for as long as possible. It may feel like we haven't accomplished much, but we've defined our API and got a test capturing one of our rules, even if the real code is pretty dumb. Now use that uneasy feeling to write a new test to force us to write slightly less dumb code. Okay? I love it when I write not dumb code. Arrow, why did you make your Discord also nice emoji use? I love lamp. My favorite member emoji is emotional Jared from Silicon Valley. It's his all time. Let's see. Why did you make your Discord server accept only? So I made this. I made my Discord server have an application on it, mainly the same reason why my chat is subscriber only. I want to keep out as much of the riffraff as I possibly can. So, do I know that people can automate bots to get around these things? Yes. The fact of the matter though is that I think people who are trolls or people who are building bots like that for that purpose are inherently kind of lazy people. And so any amount of friction between them and them being able to troll someone or fuck with someone's community helps reduce the likelihood that they're going to do it. So that's why that application is on my Discord server. It's just a little bit of friction. People have to answer a couple questions, and that might be just enough to get those lazy folks to move on to somebody else. Bro is casually throwing shades at TDD. I like TDD. I just also am like a realist. Like like who's gonna actually do that? You know what I mean? Like if it was me, I probably would have just started with this set of cases. You know what I mean? But that's me. Like I don't know. This just seems like you're doing it because you think you should do it versus let's actually write out all the tests we know we want to support, all the cases we know we want to handle, and let's start knocking them off one by one, right? So like let's write out the 10 cases that we know we need to support 0 to 9, and now let's start trying to, you know, one by one knock them out. Steven, I like writing code. Me, I like using AI to code. Well, apparently I love LAMP. According to the internet, you are going to be far more successful of a human being than I Norsik, what's good, Steven? I'm back. How have you been? Good to see you again, Norsik. You're always so kind when you show up in my chat. I've been well. Yeah. Um, let's see. We had a good Monday, good start to the week. Kids are healthy. Wife's healthy. I've got a cup of coffee here. I'll be going to refill that here in a minute or two. I cannot complain, good sir. There's just nothing to complain about, you know? I know that there are people that are likely waking up this morning to take care of their kid in the hospital who has cancer. There are people who are concerned about where they're going to find water this evening or get food for their next meal. So I'm one lucky son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Norsik, thank God my homeworks are done. A relief. Getting that homework out of the way feels great. I do not miss school for that reason. Now I generate my own homework, but it's homework that I want to do, not homework that somebody else is going to make me do. Did I already run these tests? I think I already ran these tests. Wow, that rhymes. Everybody's healthy got me some coffee. Well, if it did rhyme, I didn't mean it to. Alright, write enough code to make it pass. Yep, it still feels like we're not actually tackling the problem, so we need to write more tests to drive us forward. Yeah, but why couldn't we just started with the more tests? Why do we have to pedantically walk through this? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to shit on TDD, but I do want to say, like, you can still do TDD and not practice it just like the, you know, the hardcore of them do. So if Arabic equals 2, then we will return II. Also, Copilot, shut up. For me, I don't like when school gives us homework, but I love projects that, like, hands-on projects. Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, school is just primarily homework, though. You know, most curriculums aren't project-based in school, at least not here in the States. And they kind of have to be. I mean, the thing is, here in the United States, a lot of people complain about our education system, but you're talking about trying to teach 30 kids all at once. There's not a lot of great ways to do that, you know? I gotta blow my nose again. People complain about PE. Yeah, PE is the best, man. My kids love their PE teacher. Their PE teacher is like their favorite teacher. Refactor. We have some repetition in our tests. When you're testing something which feels like it's a matter of given input X, we expect Y, you should probably use table-based tests. Okay? Although, given the name of this lesson, I don't think table-based test is what we're actually going to end up using. Whoops. Still works. Add the following to our cases. Well, we know this is going to fail. This lesson kind of seems out of place compared to what we've been doing, doesn't it? I'm sure there's a good reason for that, but so far I don't know what it is. Convert to Roman. Nah, are you really? Okay, so I'm starting to not enjoy these if statements, and if you look at the code hard enough, you can see that we're building a string of I based on the size of Arabic. We know that for more complicated numbers, we will be doing some kind of arithmetic and string concatenation. Let's try a refactor with these thoughts in mind. It might not be suitable for the end solution, but that's okay. We can always throw our code away and start afresh with tests we have to guide us. Y'all actually get PE? Well, I mean, yeah, my kids do. They only get it, I think, certain days of the week, though. They don't get it every day. They get recess every day, but not PE every day. Also, Steven, where do you get those lo-fis? So I use a thing called lo-fi generator. So this is the website, lofigenerator.com. Also, I should add that to Stream Element, shouldn't I? As a command. Let's call the command music. Or lo-fi maybe? Lo-fi music? I don't know. What's the right command? Yeah, it's pretty good. The guy who made it, his name's Dylan Turner. So if you guys want to send him some love, we bought him a coffee the other day, but this is Gentleman who created Lo-Fi Generator. Yeah. I always give him a shout out. Lo-Fi. I use this website for my music. It is made by Dylan Turner. All right, let's try this new command that we just added, lo-fi. That's improv. Yep, I'll get him a coffee in like 1 or 2 years once I'll have money. Oh no, yeah, but you guys won't. I mean, at the very least, you could just send him an email. Like his email's on his website. Just send him an email and say thank you. You know, if you enjoy it, of course. But I just feel like when you use other people's stuff that you really enjoy, and if you can afford to, because I mean, obviously I don't pay for every piece of free thing that I use, but if you can afford to, you know, and you want to, I'm sure the creators of those things always appreciate, at the very least, hearing from you. You know what I mean? At the very least, like sending a message to someone and being like, hey, I found XYZ thing, wanted to say thank you, appreciate your time to make it. That goes a long way. You wouldn't believe what that means to people. Only if it's free, I like them. No fake free. Well, what does that even mean? Fake free, Arrow. Are you saying people? Are you one of those people that think that people shouldn't be able to make money off their work? Like, I don't understand the term fake free. Like, give it for free and then suddenly say it's a paid thing. No, like they say it's free, but it's not. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just lying. That, without any note. Well, yeah, that's just lying, you know? And I would agree if a service starts out free, it's always painful for customers if you convert from free to paid. That's always going to be painful. I know sometimes businesses have to do that. There's not really a good way around it. You're going to piss people off. If you could continue to, I think the best approach in those situations are, I kind of saw Jimmy Bogart do this with his libraries this year. If you started something for free and you want to commercialize it, that's fine. I'm totally fine with you commercializing your project. But I think if you can, you should try to grandfather in that existing thing or that existing feature set into like a free tier, so the users who are using it can continue to use it, and then you can move forward with actually making money to try to make your thing sustainable. But yeah, if you say it's free and then someone shows up and you charge them $10, that's just being a shady piece of shit. Your grandma uses more emojis than you? Well, I bet I use more emojis than your grandma. Sometimes I only speak in emojis. Arrow, but people won't buy a software if the free version is viable. Well, there's ways around that, you know what I mean? Like, especially in commercial situations, if you work for a business and you're using a piece of software to drive business value, you can just put a license on your thing that says, hey, you have to be willing to enforce the license, but that's a good way, I think, especially for developers. Like, hey, it's free for non-commercial use, but if you want to make money off of this, you need to pay some money for it. Now, for user-facing software, yeah, you have to have a compelling reason for them to upgrade. I mean, this is why Canva puts their background remover behind their premium tier, right? You can do everything you want on Canva, pretty much for free. But if you want to remove background from images, they charge you. Which I think for a lot of people is a compelling enough feature to upgrade. Things start getting more complex now. The Romans, in their wisdom, thought repeating characters would become hard to read and count. OOT, but how did you config NeoVim in Windows? Is it use tools like Scoop or Choco? Also, first off, your question is perfect for your username, Just Terminal. Second off, I think all I did was I went to the NeoVim website. And I think there's just a Windows installation instructions there that I followed. Yeah, I think I just did this. Looks like they have an installer for Windows, and I did this back in January, so I'm not 100% certain that I remember what exactly I did. But yeah, I just used the whatever was here at that time. You can also install it with Winget if you like. You can use Scoop too, it looks like. I would probably use Winget. I wonder if I did use Winget. Let's look. Winget list. Let's see. Do y'all see NeoVim in this list? I don't see it, I don't think. Oh, no. Yep, there it is. Yeah, so I just used Winget. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. There's a few, like, I did have to patch a couple plugins that weren't handling the path separator correctly, so there might be, you might have to wrestle with some stuff like that, because obviously NeoVim isn't heavily used by Windows users. But if you're willing to deal with issues like that or work through them, then you should be fine. Remove.bg does the job. Oh, nice. I didn't know there was a website like that. I built my own background removal tool. That's what I did. I didn't want to pay for another subscription, so I just built my own background removal tool. But let's remove.bg. This kind of looks like it has ads and stuff. Is it going to charge you money? Does it cost money? This looks like it costs money. Let's see. Go to my pictures and go to the camera roll, and let's just remove it from one of these guys. Hey, looky there. That looks wonderful. Oh, they limit you, bro. They limit you. You can only download the preview. Nah, that's okay. That's why I created my own. No, 100%. No, it's not 100% free. You can't use it. It's free, but only for high quality images, I think. No, it's not free. They don't let you pull a. Yeah, they only let you pull the preview. That's why I just made my own CLI tool for this. It's definitely not as good as their background removal. Like, I will admit, mine is not as good. It doesn't have the edges aren't quite as smooth, but it accomplishes what I need it to accomplish. So I made this. So it'll take an image like this, and it will do this. So you can kind of see, like, there's kind of a harsh edge on it, but it's not. I mean, it's passable, you know, and it's free. And I can do arbitrarily whatever images I want. And we're good. Use Adobe's one. It's free. Is it really? Adobe. Can you link it to me, Arrow? Adobe's background remover. The CLI tool is on my GitHub. It's just under BGR if you're interested in looking at it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. ESFONL Adobe free? What? Those two words in the same sentence? I gave up my Adobe subscription 4 years ago, and I just switched over to DaVinci Resolve and GIMP for editing images and videos. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Oh, we have a new Discord member. Whoever I just approved your membership if you were waiting to get into our Discord. Oh, Adobe Express? I have that on my phone. But is it really free? I don't typically click links, but let's see if I can find that same article. New.express.adobe free background removal. Oh yeah, Adobe Express offers a free background removal tool that's quick and easy to use. Nice. I'll have to check this out. Thank you very much for the recommendation. Appreciate you. Test it, Steven. It's a website. I'll test it later. I'm always suspicious of clicking links. I have good informational security training. Boris, good morning. What's up, dude? How are you? Bring out the GIMP. I do like GIMP. You know? I mean, talk about GIMP and DaVinci Resolve. Talk about two pieces of software that are just crazy powerful and crazy that they're pretty much free to use if you want to use them. All right, back to fixing this Roman numeral thing because I want to go get another cup of coffee. Things start getting more complicated now Oh, also, I should probably unpin that message, and I should probably add mine back. Good morning. I'm still trying to learn Go. Drink coffee and chat with us. If you are new here, try out commands. Pin that message. So a rule with Roman numerals is you can't have the same character repeated more than 3 times in a row. Instead, you take the highest symbol and then subtract by putting a symbol to the left of it. Not all symbols can be used as subtractors, only I, X, and C. For example, 5 in Roman numerals is V. To create 4, you do not do I, or 4 I's. Instead, you do IV. Okay. You wake up pretty early. What's your bedtime? It varies from night to night. Most of the time, it's kind of somewhere in the 8 to 10 range. If I get stuck on my laptop pursuing some random idea or thing that I felt was like urgently important for me to do, for whatever reason, like sometimes I just nerd snipe myself very easily, and then I'll go to bed at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. But lately I've been trying to go to bed somewhere in that 8 to 10 range. My problem is, honestly, my biggest problem in life is that I like to burn the candle at both ends. So I like to stay up late and I like to get up early. And that's always been an issue for me. And I know at some point, I'm going to have to pay the piper for doing that. I've been better about it recently. My wife is always chewing my ass about it. So I've been better about it over the last couple of years. But when I was younger, especially like in college, I wrecked myself. It was awful. I did not sleep more than probably 3 hours every evening when I was in college. Typical programmer gets distracted by 9 or 10 interesting things. Man, it's the best and the worst part about programming, and it's the best and worst part about just technology in general. Is it's always evolving, it's always changing. There's always something new to look at. And so it's this constant struggle between staying focused on something long enough that you can get deep knowledge or expertise, but also not having your blinders on so forcefully that you miss the next big thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't pay attention to the internet, you missed out on a huge opportunity, right? Um, like the same thing is kind of happening with AI right now. Is like there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of bullshit in AI, but there's also a lot of real technology there, right? There's a lot of real stuff there. And so you're constantly between these two tensions of like, I want to be focused, but I also want to have general awareness of what's going on around me. It's tough, man. It's tough. A lot of industries just don't move at that speed, you know? I don't like that we have broken our string building pattern and I want to carry on with it. In order for 4 to fit with my current thinking, I now count down from the Arabic number, adding symbols to our string as we progress. Not sure if this will work in the long run, but let's see. Yeah, so he's just decrementing. And if he hits 4, then he immediately breaks and just writes IV. Obviously, this is going to be an issue if you give it 5, right? It's not going to work. We can all see where this is going. But we'll play along, you know. We'll be good students. We can all see where this is headed, though. You know, I started falling for AI videos and images. It's getting good. Oh, it's getting very good. My my mom and stepdad were here the last couple weekends, and that has come up like a couple times during their visits. Is like, y'all have to be careful with what you believe on Facebook these days. I mean, you've always had to be careful with that, but now it's even more so, you know. I feel bad for some of the, you know, even the older folks, you know, people who are their 70s or 80s, right? Like, there's some people that are going to get scammed, right? Or they're going to get misled into some bad, twisted, deeply messed up thing, you know? Arrow, I want to build a link shortener. I want to build a YouTube video downloader. I want to build a background remover. I want to build this at every time cursor takes longer than 10 minutes to fix bug. Yeah, that's you know, I mean that's like AI. It's results may vary. That should be every AI product should just have this, you know, like cigarettes have this, you know, that big label that's like this will fucking kill you. AI product should have a big label that's like this thing gets things fucking wrong, or this thing fucks up sometimes, or something like that. It should have some big statement about this will not work every time. Those are all very difficult projects, though, especially Arrow, the YouTube video downloader. That's a very difficult problem to solve because YouTube works very hard at preventing you from doing that. Like if you go look at the code for YTDLP, which is kind of the YTDLP. This is kind of like what everybody uses to do that, which you're not supposed to do. Yeah, the code in here is pretty wild. Some of the stuff they have to do to get around the protections that YouTube puts around these things is pretty nuts. The background remover, I think you could accomplish, but it's still kind of difficult. Well, at least I thought it was difficult. I thought it was a difficult project. The link shortener, though, I think is a pretty canonical project that I think almost every developer probably builds at some point in their learning journey, because it kind of teaches you the full cycle of building an application. You know, you have to build a front end, then you got to build a back end, you got to stick some stuff in a database, you got to pull some stuff out of a database. Steven, do you know whenever I take a pic of myself, my classmates make me into a WhatsApp sticker? Nice. I'm guessing that's a good thing. If it's a bad thing, then just ask them to stop doing that. Boris, YouTube video downloader is a very good Python project. Yeah, but are we talking? So are you guys, when you guys say you find the meme type, then delete the ampersands, get the separate video and audio links and combine them into an MP4? Is it really that simple, Boris? I don't think it's that simple though. If it is that simple, will somebody write a quick like Python script that does it in that simple of an approach? Because I sat down to build one and it seemed way more difficult than that. Boris, that's what VLC used to do. Yeah, I don't think VLC, I don't even know if VLC works anymore to download YouTube videos, but they've put in a lot of protections around it. Yeah, their Lua fix is yeah, I don't know, man. I took like a couple days to try to see if I could do it, and I was like, wow, this is really complicated. Artwork Studios also, and maybe that was a skill issue on my part, but like if somebody can teach me how to build a YouTube downloader, I would happily be your student. YTDL, without it 99% of YouTube downloaders are failed. Exactly. But like, so that's what that's what I'm trying to say is like, did you really build a YouTube downloader if you just wrapped YTDLP? Like, you didn't really build a YouTube downloader if you just use YTDLP. You know what I mean? They wrote the YouTube downloader and you just plug it into your application. Yeah, manually removing backgrounds is fine, but it's kind of tedious. You know what I mean? It's kind of a pain in the ass. Did we try this? Did this run successfully? Yeah, YTDL did the hard work. Yeah, they 100% they did. And I was so stupid. I was so stupid naive because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna build my own YouTube downloader. And then I started to try to do it, and I was like, wait a second. There's a lot of complexity here I didn't realize was happening that YouTube was doing to protect their videos, which, I mean, makes sense. Why wouldn't they do that? Then I started to read through YTDLP's code, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to spend the time to re-implement all this. This is nuts. Yeah, it's like FFmpeg, right? It's like why would anybody build an alternative to FFmpeg? It makes no sense. It's like we should all just work on FFmpeg. Which is it's the good thing about software, and it's the bad thing about software is like it just doesn't make sense to maintain two things that are uber complex, but at the same time, then you have this single point of failure and you have this single dependency on this one thing, which is also not good. It's a real catch-22 type of situation. Let's make man, is he really gonna go one by one? My goodness. Guys, I might I might skip ahead. This is becoming very painful. I think he's gonna go one by one, all the way to the bitter end. It would be interesting to reverse engineer YTD. I don't know. I just don't know if that's worth the time and energy it would take. That's the thing. The way I did it like a year ago was inspection element, find the separate audio and video through the meme representation. You get the URL, delete the characters between the last ampersand. It was crazy hack by some Indian guy, but the vid was removed. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, if somebody's willing to like write the code and share it with me, or like write me a document that step by step teaches me how to do that, I would love to learn. But after investing like 2 8-hour days into trying to figure it out and then looking at YTDLP source code, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to waste any more time trying to reverse engineer this. This is I want the author of Learn Go with Tests to know that I understand his point. And I don't think he needs to do this to us. He's torturing us. We're just going one line at a time. Repetition and loops like this are actually usually a sign of an abstraction waiting to be called out. Short-circuiting loops can be an effective tool for readability, but it could also be telling you something. We are looping over our Arabic number, and if we hit certain symbols, we are calling break. But what we are really doing is subtracting over I in a ham-fisted manner. Yeah, and what's wrong with that, right? So for Arabic is greater than 0. So case, Arabic is greater than 4. We write 5 and then we subtract 5. Arabic is greater than 3. We write 4 and we subtract 4. Okay. Given the signals I'm reading from our code deriving from our tests of some very basic scenarios, I can see that to build a Roman numeral, I need to subtract from Arabic as I apply symbols. The for loop no longer relies on an I, and instead we will keep building our string until we have subtracted enough symbols away from Arabic. I'm pretty sure this approach will be valid for 6, 7, and 8 too. Nonetheless, add the cases in our test suite and check. I won't include the code for brevity. Check the GitHub for samples if you're unsure. 9 follows the same rule as 4 in that we should subtract I from the representation of the following number. 10 is represented in Roman numerals with X, so therefore 9 should be IX. Alright, so let's add all these test cases, and then we'll update our code. So let's say 6 gets converted to VI. 6 VI. 7, 8. 7, 8. Let's go back to his code and we'll copy and paste his for loop, or his new for loop. Come over here. So he doesn't think this will work for 9, but it should work for 9 gets converted to IX, but it didn't. We got VIV, which makes sense because it was greater than 5, so we added 5. Then it was greater than 3, so we did 4. So we have 9 represented correctly according to the algorithm we have currently. But there's some rule that we haven't captured. We should be able to adopt the same approach before. If Arabic is greater than 9, we write IX. Why not use modulo? I have no idea. And maybe that's where we end up with this solution. I honestly don't know. I'm just kind of following the doc. Arrow. A while ago, I found a vulnerability in Google Docs. If I add mobile basic instead of edit at the end of the link and copy some JavaScript, you can edit without access. It got resolved though. Well, that was a pretty good. That's a pretty esoteric vulnerability to find, Arrow. Boris, mod 5, then -1 or +1, and mod 10. Maybe that's where he's eventually gonna go with it. I honestly don't know. It feels like the code is still telling us there's a refactor somewhere, but it's not totally obvious to me. So let's keep going. I'll skip the code for this too, but add to your test cases a test for 10, which should be X, and make it pass before reading on. Here are a few tests I added, as I'm confident up to 39 our code should work. Okay. It's like, how does he know? I don't know. I'm just going to trust him. Well, that didn't work. Did I not make an update in the code? Let's see, if you've ever done OO programming, what's OO? Object oriented? Is that what he's saying? You'll know that you should view switch statements with a bit of suspicion. Usually you are capturing a concept or data inside some imperative code, when in fact it should be captured in a class structure instead. We need an Uncle Bob meme, don't we? Or like some sort of Uncle Bob picture that we can flash on stream. Angry Uncle Bob in his bathrobe. Have you guys seen those Twitter posts that he makes? His bathrobe rants. Go isn't strictly object-oriented, but that doesn't mean we ignore the lessons object-oriented offers entirely. Oh, that's interesting because you get the gist from the Go community that they would rather have object-oriented programming not exist. Our switch statement is describing. Also, it seems interesting to choose Go and then write object-oriented code. Our switch statement is describing some truths about Roman numerals along with behavior. We can refactor this by decoupling the data from the behavior. So we have Roman numerals. A Roman numeral has a value and it has a symbol that represents it. And then we convert to Roman. So we're arranging over all the Roman numerals. And then we're looping over the Arabic value. As long as that is greater than or equal to the numeral dot value, we will write the symbol and then subtract the value. Okay. Let's do it. And it passes. Woohoo! Look at us. This feels much better. We've declared some rules around the numerals as data rather than hidden in an algorithm, and we can see how we just work through the Arabic number, trying to add symbols to our result if they fit. Does this abstraction work for bigger numbers? Extend the test suite so it works for the Roman number for 50, which is L. I'll just say this. I don't think that this lesson is worth this much time. I'm not 100% certain this is worthy of the investment that the author is expecting someone to make. Okay, breaks. And the rest. Here are the remaining symbols. Take the same approach for remaining symbols. It should just be a matter of adding data to both the tests and our array of symbols. Does your code work for 1984? Here's my final test suite. As I felt the data described enough of the information, I've added a few other edge cases I found just to give me a little more confidence. It's very cheap to do. Okay. We will happily take your test cases here. Why does it look fun watching you learn it? Well, I don't know. It doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel fun. It feels pedantic, you know? But it's definitely driving home. It's definitely driving home TDD, right? It's a good reminder of this is the way you do test-driven development. This is the level of discipline somebody, you know, might require in order to consider it TDD. I don't know if I approach TDD with this same level of discipline, but I definitely see the value in it. It forces you to think clearly. It also, I think, the other thing this concept drives home is you don't have to be a whiz-bang Mark Zuckerberg level programmer. You can just think through a problem from the simplest of solutions to the final solution by just successively iterating on your approach, right? You don't have to be able to just be handed a problem and immediately know the solution. You can solve it through iteration. See, we're not done yet. Next, we're going to write a function that converts from a Roman numeral to an int. Wonderful. Write the first test. Notice I'm using the slice functionality to just run one of the tests for now. Cases 1, as trying to make all those tests pass all at once is too big a leap. Okay. we obviously don't have a... Do we not have a cases? Oh. Let me pull this out. Put this up top here. Whoops. An array of structs. Why is that? Do I not know how to do this? I guess I don't know how to do this. Let's see. Go initialize and declare a global struct array. There we go. I did it. We don't have that, so we need to implement that. Hey, what's up, Artwork Studios? Good to have you again. That's exactly what the first chapter of Structure and Interpretation of Computer Programming by MIT Press is about. Oh, really? That's fascinating. They use Lisp. Oh, I don't think I could read Lisp, let alone write it. Okay, we'll add our return. We'll just return a 0. That's fine. Finally gonna work on my project. Procrastinated enough. Proud of you, man. Proud of you. Write enough code to make it pass. You know what to do. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do it. Next, change the slice index in our test to move our next case. Yep. Make it pass yourself with the dumbest code. I'm not gonna do that. I know there's a smarter way, and we're gonna do the smarter way. Through the dumbness of real code that works, we can start to see a pattern like before. We need to iterate through the input and build something, in this case, a total. Okay. Write the first test. Write enough code to make it pass. Yeah, it's basically the algorithm of convert to Roman implemented backwards. Here we loop over the given numeral string. We look for Roman numeral symbols taken from all Roman numerals highest to lowest at the beginning of the string. If we find the prefix, we add its value to Arabic and trim the prefix. At the end, we return the sum as the Arabic number. The has prefix checks whether string S starts with prefix, and trim prefix removes the prefix from S, so we can proceed with the remaining Roman numeral symbols. It works with IV and all other test cases. You can implement this as a recursive function, which is more elegant in my opinion, but might be slower. Yeah, I don't like recursion, and I don't think it's more elegant in my opinion. I'll leave this up to you in some benchmark tests. Okay, so let's copy this solution. It's nice to know there's a has prefix and a trim prefix function, which I did not know about until this solution, so nice to know that exists. There's a lot I think I don't know about the Go standard library yet, and that's kind of why I'm excited to get into solving some of my own problems. It's black magic. Are you talking about Lisp? There have been a few rules in the domain of Roman numerals that we have worked with in this chapter. Can't have more than 3 consecutive symbols. Only I, X, and C can be subtractors. Taking the result of a convert to Roman and passing it to convert to Arabic should return us in. The tests we have written so far can be described as example-based tests, where we provide examples for the tooling to verify. This is the whole point of this lesson. I want you guys to realize that this is the whole point of this lesson is property-based tests, and we just got to it after fucking almost 45 minutes, an hour. Property-based tests help you do this by throwing random data at your code and verifying the rules you describe always hold true. A lot of people think property-based tests are mainly about random data, but they would be mistaken. The real challenge about property-based tests is having a good understanding of your domain so you can write these properties. Enough words, let's see some code. Yeah, because this is basically asserting the statement he made earlier. Convert to Roman given in and passing it to convert to Arabic should return in, right? So basically put something in, get something out, put something in again, you should get the same thing that you originally put in. Our first test will check that if we transform a number into Roman, where we use our other function to convert it back to a number, that we get what we originally had. This feels like a good test to build us confidence because it should break if there's a bug in either. The only way it could pass is if they have the same kind of bug, which isn't impossible but feels unlikely. We're using the testing quick package from the standard library. Reading from the bottom, we provide quick.check, a function that will run against a number of random inputs. Oh, interesting. So quick.check will provide random inputs to assertion. That's kind of cool. Try running it. Your computer may hang for a while, so kill it when you're bored. What's going on? Try adding the following to the assertion code. You should see something like this. Just running this very simple property has exposed a flaw in our implementation. We used int as our input, but you can't do negative numbers with Roman numerals. Given our rule of a max of 3 consecutive symbols, we can't repeat a value greater than 39999, and int has a much higher maximum value than 3999. This is great. We've been forced to think more deeply about our domain, which is a real strength of property-based tests. Clearly, int is not a great type. What if we tried something a little bit more appropriate? Go has types for unsigned integers, which means they cannot be negative. So that rules out one class of bug in our code immediately. By adding 16, it means it is a 16-bit integer, which can store a max of 65,000 or so, which is still too big but gets us close to what we need. Try updating the code to use uint16 rather than int. I updated the assertion in the test to give a bit more visibility. Okay. Notice that now we are logging the input using the log method from the testing framework. Make sure you run go-test command with the -v to print the additional output. If you run the test, they now actually run and you can see what is being tested. You can run multiple times to see our code stands up well to the various values. This gives me a lot of confidence that our code is working how we want. The default number of runs quick.check performs is 100, but you can change that with a config. This is really interesting, this quick.check, this ability to just throw random inputs at a function. That's kind of cool. So max count of 1,000. Can you write property tests that check the other properties we described? Yes, I'm sure I can. Can you think of a way of making it so it's impossible for someone to call our code with a number greater than 3. Yeah, we could return an error. Or create a new type that cannot represent crater. It should probably be this one. I'd rather it be this one. Just don't accept a type that can be more than 3999. I guess the Romans only counted up to 3999. More TD practice with iterative development. The trick, as always, is to get started with something simple and take small steps. At no point in this process should we make any large leaps, do any huge refactorings, or get in a mess. Oh, yes, but this is where all the fun lies, right? See you, Wilo Gamer Pro. Have a good day, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. I can hear someone cynically saying, this is just a kata. I can't argue with that, but I still take the same approach for every project I work on. I never ship a big distributed system in my first step. I find the simplest thing the team could ship, usually a Hello World website. Then iterate on small bits of functionality in manageable chunks, just like how we did here. The skill is knowing how to split work up. This is 100% the skill, and I want to get better at this. The skill is knowing how to split work up, and that comes with practice and with some lovely TDD to help you on your way. Property-based tests. Built into the standard library, if you can think of ways to describe your domain rules in code, they are an excellent tool for giving you more confidence. Force you to think about your domain deeply, and potentially a nice complement to your test suite. This book is relying on valuable feedback from the community. Dave is an enormous help in practically every chapter, but he had a real rant about my use of Arabic numerals in this chapter. So in the interest of full disclosure, here's what he said. Wow. Okay, this guy has some feelings. Wow. I mean, some people just think really, really hard and really, really deep about something. Okay, fair enough. Which is fine. Okay, so we have property-based tests. That took a long time, but the biggest takeaway there is if you can find a way to describe what it is you're building with properties, meaning if we go back up here, what he's trying to just say with property is kind of a confusing word because it means something in programming, but they're basically like rules about your system, right? They're like fundamentally true rules about your system. In this case, the fundamental property that we identified was if you take the result of convert to Roman given in and pass it to convert to Arabic, it should return in, right? That is a property of our system, of our domain. It's a rule that should always be true. And so if you can describe things in that way, Go has a really nice way for you to validate that with this quick dot check function. So that was the point this lesson was trying to drive home, but man, did it do it in the longest, most TDD way. Okay, now we're moving on to mass. Hopefully mass isn't as literal. I guess I won't do that quite yet. What's up, Tucker? How are you, man? The man, the legend? I don't know about that, Tucker. I am a man, but not a legend. I'm just a 30-year-old dude. 32-year-old dude in his basement. 32-year-old dad in his basement talking about code early in the morning. But glad you're here, man. Hope you're doing well. I think coffee refill time. We haven't done that this morning. I feel like getting through that lesson deserves a coffee refill. uh, split pane up. All right, let's make this BRB. Yeah, Steven, maybe. For sure. Is that high coffee intake good for you? Yeah. I think having a moderate amount of coffee is probably fine. There are probably days where I do take it to an excess. Um, I think the main problem with coffee is just the caffeine in it, right? So I mean, obviously, there is a dosage of caffeine, right? Caffeine probably has negative effect after so much, but um, yeah, I think I use it safely. I don't think I abuse it. You should reward yourself with caffeination for getting through your homework. Oh, I know, dude. That was the roughest lesson we've gone through so far in that website or in that book. Boris, I drink only coffee. Well, I drink coffee, mostly coffee and water, and an occasional diet root beer. Or diet Sprite or diet Coke or something like that. Coke Zero is what we usually buy. But for the most part, it's coffee and water. All right, I'm gonna run. I'll be right back. 5 minutes. If you're gonna leave, thank you for hanging out. I obviously don't expect you to have to stare at a blank chair, but I will be back. So I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Sorry about that. Took a little extra. My wife was making lunches in the kitchen, so I had to give her a smooch and a hello. But I'm back. Alright, we're learning about maths. Can Go do maths? Hey, what's up, Stefan? Stefan, our illustrious member. Stefan's like one of the only members who has more than a month. And we appreciate it. Thank you, Stefan. I see Boris left. Who else is here? Did I miss anything? I would agree with Stefan. Sleeping is never wasted time. It feels like wasted time, but it's not. Stefan, nice hoodie, Steven. Oh, you like this? This is actually a onesie. This is actually... Can't really see, but it's a... I mean, people dunk on the onesies, but man, they are warm and comfy in the wintertime. Yeah, Arvin, you should get sleep, man. If that's how you feel, you should definitely get sleep. Sleep is probably the most productive thing you can do for yourself. Teo dance makes you feel safe, right? Yeah. Makes you feel all warm and cozy. Yeah, we got this. We had my family, or my wife's family, always does like matching PJs for Christmas. And I think like 2 years ago or a year ago, this set of pajamas, and I was given the option between like a onesie or a pair of pants, and I was like, well, fuck it, let's get a onesie. Best decision ever. All right, what are we talking about next? We're talking about math. Yeah, great choice. Yes, I do not regret my decision. For all the power of modern computers to perform huge sums at lightning speed, the average developer really rarely uses any mathematics to do their job. This has definitely been my my experience. I know it's not everyone's experience, but yes, you should. It is obligatory, Arvin. Get under the blankets, put on your comfort show, and fall asleep. Today we'll use mathematics to solve a real problem and not boring mathematics. We're going to use trigonometry and vectors and all sorts of stuff that you always said you never have to use after high school. The problem: you want to make an SVG of a clock, not a digital clock. No, that would be easy. An analog clock with hands. You're not looking for anything fancy, just a nice function that takes a time from the time package and spits out an SVG of a clock with all the hands, hours, minutes, and seconds pointing in the right direction. How hard can that be? Actually, that does sound kind of hard, but sounds like a really fun problem to solve. See you, Arvin. Sleep well, man. We'll see you again. Harsh. How are you liking Go so far? As someone who's into C# and TypeScript, do you recommend it? Yeah, it's actually interesting. It's okay, first off, just to answer your first question, I like it. I think I'm a fan. Second off, it's interesting as somebody who is kind of a C# and a TypeScript person. If you're in C#, you know that like everything's object oriented, right? Everything has to be part of a class. That's just how it is. You can do some functional stuff, but still, at its core, C# is an object oriented language. Then you have TypeScript, which is kind of like, it's JavaScript. So it's like, fuck it, you can do whatever you want, right? You can object oriented, functional code, whatever. And Go seems to sit somewhere like in the middle of that spectrum where you can't really do object oriented in the classical sense of it because they don't have inheritance or class based stuff. But you can sort of do object oriented in the sense that you can have structs and you can treat those structs as pointers, or you can have pointers to those structs, and then you can have methods that are able to mutate private state in the struct. So you can sort of do some amount of encapsulation in Go, and yet Go also feels like it was never intended to be used that way, right? So it's kind of this. It's an interesting so far, my take on it is an interesting language that sort of is very heavily skewed towards functional programming, but has some tools and things in it that allow you to do some object-oriented things, which is interesting. It's just kind of completely different than TypeScript or C Sharp. It's probably more similar to TypeScript than it is C Sharp, but so far it's good. I've only had one thing that I thought, this is fucking dumb. Why does anyone do that? And that is naked returns. Yes, this is a thing. Naked returns with named return parameters. That that pattern seems stupid. Artwork Studios right now making elevator music for my game. Nice. Okay, this actually seems like a legitimately cool problem. Brandon, thanks for subbing. Appreciate you. Okay, first we're going to need an SVG of a clock for us to play with. SVGs are a fantastic image format to manipulate programmatically because they're written as a series of shapes described in XML. So this clock, I can't see it, is described like this. Okay. Maybe there, can I view this somewhere else? Let's see. SVG viewer. Good morning from Boston. Cold day. Yeah, it's cold here too. Maybe not as cold as it is in Boston, but it's cold here. Mr. Brand, go dev for 10 years. Yes, please avoid name returns. Yeah, I think it's silly, man. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a good reason it exists, but it seems super confusing to do it that way. Okay, that's what we should have been viewing, but I'm guessing it's because I'm in dark mode that we can't see it. So we have, what is this supposed to represent? What time is this supposed to represent? This is like 10, 11, 12, so this is like 11, or no, maybe 10:50 or something like that, 11, something like that. Yeah, probably 10:50. 9:50, yeah, I was thinking 10:50, yeah. It's nice to know there's someone here that has 10 years of Go experience. They can straighten me out if I get lost here. It's a circle with 3 lines, each of the lines starting in the middle of the circle, x equals 150, y equals 150, and ending some distance away. So what we're going to do is reconstruct the above somehow, but change the lines so that they point in the appropriate directions for a given time. An acceptance test. Before we get too stuck in, I've never heard it phrased this way. Before we get too stuck in, maybe I would have said before we get too locked in, let's think about an acceptance test. Wait, you don't know what an acceptance test is yet? Look, let me try to explain. Let me ask you, what does winning look like? How do we know we finished work? TDD provides a good way of knowing when you finished when the test passes. Sometimes it's nice, actually almost all of the time it's nice, to write a test that tells you when you finish writing the whole usable feature, not just a test that tells you that a particular function is working the way you expect, but a test that tells you that the whole thing you're trying to achieve, the feature, is complete. These tests are sometimes called acceptance tests, sometimes called feature tests. The idea is that you write a really high-level test to describe what you're trying to achieve. A user clicks a button on a website, they can see a complete list of the Pokemon they've caught, for instance. When we've written that test, we can then write more tests, unit tests, that build towards a working system that will pass the acceptance test. So for example, these tests might be about rendering a web page with a button, testing route handlers on a web server, performing database lookups, etc. All these things will be TDD'd. TDD'd. All of them will go towards making the original acceptance test pass. Something like this classic picture by Knight Nat Price, and Steve Freeman. Write a failing end-to-end test, write a failing unit test, make the test pass, refactor, deployable system, end-to-end test. Man, I wish this is how software was actually built. Taylor, it could be a British author. Getting stuck in is getting right in there. Oh, yeah, I think he might be Canadian. The guy that wrote this. Hold on, I don't want to lose my spot here. Let me duplicate this. So maybe it is a British thing. Oh yeah, he is. He's in London. You called it. That's awesome. Yeah, he's in London. Okay. So getting stuck in, that's a British thing. Yeah, you were on it, man. You were on it. That's funny. I'm over here like, hey, I'm the arrogant American that's like, hey, use the right English words, man. Anyway, let's try and write that acceptance test, the one that will let us know we're done. We've got an example clock, so let's think about what the important parameters are going to be. So we have obviously x and 1 and y1, so that's where it starts, right? Then we have the points to which it's drawn to, which is 114 and 132. So probably the center of the clock is important. The numbers that need to change parameters to whatever builds the SVG are the x2 and y2. We'll need an x and a y for each of the hands of the clock. I could think about more parameters, the radius of the clock face circle, the size of the SVG, the colors of the hands, but it's better to start off by solving a simple concrete problem with a simple concrete solution, and then to start adding parameters to make it generalized. This is such a hard thing to do, though. Everything this guy's talking about requires discipline. It requires being very thoughtful, not moving too quickly. Maybe we should all go work for Chris James. Maybe he would make us better developers, because he seems like he is himself a very good developer. And then the vibe coders are in the background like, it doesn't matter. AI makes this all useless. Fuck you guys. Okay, so we'll say that every clock has a center of 150, 150. Artwork Studios. Yeah, maybe. See, if like me and Artwork Studios are in a crowd, Artwork Studios is like the reasonable fellow that's like, yeah, that might sound good. And then I'm the belligerent American that's standing next to him like, go fuck yourself. The hour hand is 50 long, the minute hand is 80 long, the second hand is 90 long. So we're just basically, we're defining some constants, right? A thing to know about SVGs, the origin point, 0, 0, is at the top left-hand corner, not the bottom left, as you might expect. Can you just imagine the guy who came up with the SVG spec, and he's like looking at an XY coordinate system, and he's like looking at it, he's looking at all the existing graphs in the world, and he's like, yeah, 0, 0, bottom left. My system, fuck it. Top left. People love to be different, right? It'll be important to remember this when we're working out where what numbers to plug into our lines. Finally, I'm not deciding how to construct the SVG. We could use a template from the text.template package or text/template package, or we could just send bytes into a bytes.buffer or writer, but we know we'll need those numbers, so let's focus on testing something that creates them. Okay, this is actually going to be a lot of fun, I think. So let's do clock face test is the package. Clock face test.go package clock face test. Like that. And then what was the test? Test second hand at midnight. So we're creating a time. What's 13? What's this? And then we're getting a clock face, which we don't have yet. And then we're getting the second hand. And then we're asserting that I guess the second hand has this point. Has these same values is what we're doing here. Okay. This is not going to work because we don't have a project path clock face package. So let's just who are you asking those questions to? Myself. This is my wife. For those who may be new here, this person in the chat, this Kelsey Freeborn in the chat. You can troll me, honey. It's okay. You're the only troll that's allowed. You get special. I'm gonna pin your message. Replace pin message yet? For as a warning. Yeah, you cannot block your wife from your live chat. This is this is something they talk about in premarital counseling. I made a tech news Discord webhook thing via NAN. Oh, that's cool. So it posts to Discord basically different news articles about technology stuff. That sounds like a good project for NAN, especially to learn it, right? Because that was at your first project. All right, why can't I don't think I understand the package system. Kelsey is 100% right. He is weird. I always say I'm not weird, and my wife likes to try to remind me that I'm neurospicy. I don't know. Do I need to define something in here? Type clock face. At least one file in a package should have a package comment. Huh. Alright, I'm gonna go backwards here. Package.go package test.go. I'm just gonna go back to what I was doing. Package main. And then I'm gonna go back over to this guy, go mod tidy. You know, I mean, hey Steven, have you ever thought about making your own programming courses? No, I haven't. Mainly just because I'm not sure I'm super interested in being. Uh, Again, I know I almost got banned once for shitposting, but I've seen him pushing 315. No, I've never almost banned you. I mean, it's one thing to like jest in good fun, right? It's another thing to like troll somebody, you know, or to just be like outright mean and rude. But if you're just busting your friend's balls, right, just for the fun of it, like there's nothing wrong with that. I love lamp. Look above. Yeah, I think I already talked about your comment about the NAM project. Sounds like it was fun, man. I'm glad you got to do that. Yeah, as far as like making my own programming courses, I really haven't. I'm not 100% certain I'm interested in necessarily being like a web dev simplified type of creator where I'm like trying to educate people on how to program. What's fun for me right now is just making content around whatever I'm doing, right? Like what I'm building or what I'm learning. That's what's fun. I don't really know if I want to position myself as like an authority figure, so to speak. More of someone who's just out here like other people trying to get better at this skill, trying to explore the landscape of it, trying to have a career in it. You know what I mean? Oh, is it your first project? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, man, that sounds like it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you got to do it. Yeah, sorry, Steven. You're a cool guy, friend material with whom I would love to drink beer, coffee, you know, hidden message to read between the lines. Yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'll feel like I'll have something that I'd like to teach somebody. I mean, I feel very confident that I could build a course around doing automation with Playwright. Like, I could 100% build a course around that. I just don't know if that's the content I feel like motivated to make. Like I've told you guys that selfishly, a lot of this content creation stuff is just, it's more about scratching my own itch than it is other people or helping other people. Like it just making content makes me feel better. It gives me more motivation and more energy. Obviously, if other people enjoy it, great, but that's not kind of the primary driver. And so to date, I haven't really had any inspiration to be like, yeah, I should build a course about XYZ thing. Um, but maybe in the future, who knows? Artwork. What script? Hold on. What are you doing to my channel? One second. I'm trying a script that combines every single thumbnail for a channel into one. That's kind of cool. Yeah, let me know what the results look like. There's a lot of videos on my channel though, so I'm not sure what your results are going to be. That'd be a pretty crazy image to combine all of those images together. Okay, we're gonna copy this, paste that in there. We don't need this import. The clock face does not exist yet. Which is fine, that's what you would expect. Excuse me. Remember how SVGs plot their coordinates from the top left-hand corner. To place the second hand at midnight, we expect that it hasn't moved from the center of the clock face on the x-axis, still 150, and the y-axis is the length of the hand up from the center, 150 minus 90. Because we define that up above. The second hand is always going to be 90 long. Try to run the test. Yep, it fails. So a point where the tip of the second hand should go and a function to get it. That's what we need. So write the minimal amount of code for the test to run and check the failing test output. Let's implement those types to get the code to compile. So we have our, we import time, we define a struct to represent the point, Second hand is the unit vector of the second hand of an analog clock at time t, represented at a point. What? Second hand is the unit vector so basically what he's saying is like the second hand is going to represent, if we look at our SVG, if this is the second hand, right? The point is, this is what the second hand, this is what we're going to call the second hand, is this point, is what he's saying, I believe. So let's copy that. We have a little bit different project structure, so we don't need the we don't need that import. We don't need that package statement. And then if we go back to our test code, we can say we don't need this because we're not defining this in a separate package. We can just say clock or point and then second hand. And now we should be able to test it. What? Yeah, there we go. So we got 0, 0, but we wanted 150 and 60. Thanks for your opinion about the courses. I was wondering how you feel about them, especially when everyone is doing this. Yeah, everyone is doing it, and I've just... It's not that I have any issue with people who want to make courses or want to sell courses. I saw this a lot in the fitness community when I was in fitness. There's a big... How do I say this in a way that doesn't throw shade at people who are selling courses? Because that's not what I'm trying to do. If that's the business you want to build, that's totally fine. If you want to build an education business, hey man, you know, we need all types. But one thing I saw in the fitness community is you'd have people who would get certified or they would get hired on and they would become a personal trainer or they'd open a gym, right? They'd start growing their business. But pretty soon people would recognize that there was that running a gym and having a clientele is actually a lot of hard work. And you can actually make more money by just selling courses or running workshops to teach other people how to open a gym or how to build a personal training business or to how to get more personal training clients, right? So you see what I mean? It's like people all of a sudden, instead of wanting to be personal trainers, they want to be coaches of personal trainers or educators of personal trainers. And I see the same thing in the developer community where it's actually kind of hard to like make money from writing code. And it's much easier to make money from teaching other people how to write code. And so I think that's why courses become like the next step in a lot of people's journey. It's like, well, building a SaaS or building my own product or, you know, creating my own thing is actually difficult. Why don't I just go teach other people how to code? Because there's already a market for that. There's already people who want that. Which there definitely is, but it's also a little predatory too sometimes. Like, you basically are selling something to people with this aspirational desire to become a developer, become a programmer, become a coder, but really having no skin in the game in terms of if they actually achieve that outcome, right? So it's like, buy my course and be a developer in 3 months. But you have no skin in the game if they actually if they buy the course, you have no skin in the game that they actually get that job. So it's like, yeah. What's the K, Steven? Our first trip to the K? The K is what people refer to Kauffman Stadium here in Kansas City, where the Royals are a baseball team, professional baseball team, and their stadium is Kauffman Stadium, and most people just colloquially refer to it as the K. It's like its nickname. You used to do vlogs 7 years ago? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a large portion of the content on this channel was vlogging. Yeah, for a long time. Until we moved to Kansas City, and then my my day job became just sitting at a desk, and then vlogging was like not as interesting. It's hard to find a good course though. Academic ones are great, but mostly for theory. But real expertise comes from commercial projects. Synthetic courses or boot camps are not the way. Yeah, I think that's why it's really important to like be very thorough about the people you follow online and the creators who you follow, making sure that like they're good, genuine, authentic people. I mean, I think that's why I'm such a big fan of people like Web Dev Cody. I think I've called this out several times on this channel before, but I'm such a big fan of his channel because he, as an individual, really resonated with me. Here's somebody who has a YouTube channel and is trying to make content both for entertainment but also for educational purposes. But like he has a job, he works as an engineer, he has a family, right? And so that's kind of like I would much rather learn from him than, to your point, Gunheis, than I would want to learn from an academic who's been a professor or not been working in the industry for 10, 15, 20 years. They've just been teaching it, right? So I totally agree. It's hard to find good quality education, and it's hard to find good quality education that's coming from people who are actually in the trenches every day. And that kind of content resonates with me a lot. I love Dave Garage from the old school. Oh yeah, what's his last name? Plummer? Is his last Dave? I think I'm subscribed to his channel. He actually had a really good take on making Windows. Yeah, Dave's Garage. He had a really good take on how to make Windows not suck. I really enjoyed this video because he worked very intimately on Windows, in his career, and so it's interesting to hear somebody who was there when probably some of the choices and the decisions were made talk about what they should do differently. But yeah, his channel's great too. Yeah, really good. He actually has an interview with the guy who created the Windows kernel, I believe. Windows kernel. I think his name is, what's his name? His name's Dave too, I believe. Windows kernel creator. Yeah, Dave Cutler. So he has an interview on his channel with Dave Cutler, which is really fascinating. Because when you listen to Dave Cutler talk, like he is not who you think he would be. Like he played football in college. He was like an incredible athlete. Like you just wouldn't think of the guy who created the Windows kernel as being. Let's see if I can find it. Dave's Garage. Dave Cutler. Yeah, this one. This is actually really good. I mean, I know Dave Cutler's kind of a polarizing figure, but I really enjoyed this interview. It was good. Why do you have playing Fortnite with Batman on the channel? Well, that was with my son. I think I made a couple of videos when he was really into Kid City gaming. He kind of wanted to do what they were doing and make videos, so we a couple times made some gaming videos together when he was little. You did streams 4 years ago and you randomly stopped 3 years ago until you started 9 months ago. Dude, this channel is old. This channel goes back almost 10 years, and for the longest time, it was just content from really that I was interested in making, and nobody cared about it. And there was only 24 people subbed to the channel in January this year. And so yeah, there's a lot of history on the channel for sure. Wow, Steven, you have more videos than I do subscribers. Yes, I have a lot of videos on the channel for sure. I'm probably the first person literally archiving your entire. Yeah, you probably are. You probably are. throwing axes, no, really caught my attention. Yeah, there's a lot of good content on there. I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, selfishly, to have those vlogs and to have all that footage. It's like time traveling, going back to a place in life and a time in life that no longer exists. Um, there's something to be said about the value of like documenting your life. For sure. For sure. All right, back to the SVG problem. Let's write enough code to make it pass. When we get the expected failure, we can fill in the return value of secondhand. I don't know. I don't find a ton of value in doing this. Why are we doing this way? I don't like, let's actually get into solving the problem. So we need was it 150 and 60? Like that. I thought there we go. It just hadn't written out yet. Just reach your 200 video. Wow. Your script is doing the work, man. Nice. Very cool. Trele? I don't know what the hell that message means. I don't know what you're talking about. But nice to see you. No need to refactor yet. There's barely enough code. Repeat for new requirements. We probably need to do some work here that doesn't involve returning a clock that shows midnight for every time. Write the test first. Same idea, but now the second hand is pointing downwards, so we add the length to the y-axis. Okay. Whoops. Let's close this one, and let's close this one. In fact, when this channel was created, I was also relatively new to birth. Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah. I've been making a lot of content on the internet for a long time. At least since I was 18. I mean, ever since I started personal training, or when I started personal training, I basically started making content on the internet. And it largely started at the beginning just for business purposes, and then it kind of grew from there. Now it's kind of a passion or a hobby unto itself. Same idea, but now yeah. Thinking time. How are we going to solve this problem? Every minute, the second hand goes through the same 60 states, pointing in 60 different directions. When it's 0 seconds, it points to the top of the clock face. When it's 30 seconds, it points to the bottom of the clock face. Easy enough. So if I wanted to think about in what direction the second hand was pointing at, say, 37 seconds, I'd want the angle between 12 o'clock and the 37/60ths around the circle in degrees. This is 360 divided by 60 times 37 equals 222. But it's easier just to remember that it's 37 divided by 60 of a complete rotation. But the angle is only half the story. We need to know the x and y coordinate that the tip of the second hand is pointing at. How can we work that out? Let's see. Imagine a circle with a radius of 1 drawn around the origin. The coordinate 0. Man, who knew we were going to be in geometry class this morning? I thought we were learning Go with Tess. I I had an old channel where it was broken English until I deleted out shame and realized I couldn't go back. I actually felt sad. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of deleting stuff. I mean, there's definitely a time to cull, right? That's for sure. And there's definitely things that maybe you're not ashamed of, but just don't accurately reflect you as a human being anymore. And so you want to remove them. But I also think there's some value in leaving the content that you create or even the code you write, for example, right? Like, it's nice to be able to go back and look at where you've been and how far you've come and where you are, right? To have that ability to, again, time travel. That's one of the beauties of being able to document your life, whether it be documenting it in code or documenting it with video, right? Being able to look at the progression that you've made. This is called the unit circle because, well, the radius is 1 unit. The circumference of the circle is made up of points on the grid, more coordinates. The x and y components of each of these coordinates form a triangle, the hypotenuse of which is always 1. Now, trigonometry will let us work out the lengths of x and y for each triangle if we know the angle they make with the origin. Man, I hope nobody shows up in my stream right now. Harsh, Mrs. Freeborn throwing shade. Yeah, she's always throwing shade. But she's pretty, and she's nice to me sometimes. Well, I hope someone doesn't show up to my stream right now and think that this is what programming is, because this is not what programming is most of the time. We are just in a domain that requires trigonometry to solve the problem. Most problems you encounter, especially as a web developer, are not going to involve trigonometry. Okay, the x-coordinate will be cosine of A. The y-coordinate will be sine of A, where A is the angle between the line and the positive x-axis. If you don't believe this, go and look at Wikipedia. One final twist. Because we want to measure the angle from 12 o'clock rather than from the x-axis, 3 o'clock, we need to swap the axis around. Now x equals sine A and y equals cosine A. So the reason we want to do this, right, is because that 0 coordinates actually for SVG is up in the top left. So now we know how to get the angle of the second hand, 1/60th of the circle for each second, and the x and y coordinates. We'll need functions for both sine and cosine. Happily, the Go Math package has both. With one small snag, we'll need to get our heads around if we look at the description of math.cosine. Cosine returns the cosine of the radiant argument x. So now we're like, okay, what the hell's a radiant? It wants the angle to be in radians. So what's a radian? Instead of defining the full turn of a circle to be made up of 360 degrees, we define a full turn as being 2 pi radians. There are good reasons to do this that we won't go into. Man, yeah, this whole lesson is like, if you encountered this lesson while learning Go, you're gonna think, yeah, maybe programming is not for me. Artwork shoes, bro, I got rate limited. Oh shit. Well, when you're trying to pull thumbnails for 1,000+ videos, that might happen. Now that we've done some reading and some learning, some thinking, we can write our next test. All this math is hard and confusing. I'm not confident I understand what's going on. So let's write a test. We don't need to solve the whole problem in one go. Let's start with working out the correct angle in radians for the second hand at a particular time. Oh, it's already 7:05. Shoot. I'm going to comment out the acceptance test that I was working on while I'm working on these tests. I don't want to get distracted by that test while I'm getting this one to pass. At the moment, our acceptance tests are in the clock test package. Our tests can be outside of the ClockFace package as long as their name ends with test.go. Hey 199, what's up? Appreciate you stopping in. Yeah, you're catching us. I'm probably not going to stay live for too terribly longer. I might get through like this next little section of this lesson and then bounce, but we'll see. I'm going to write these radian tests within the ClockFace package. They may never get exported and they may get deleted once I have a better grip on what's going on. I'll rename my acceptance test file to this so I can create a new file called ClockFace test. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to do it all. I'm I'm going to do it all in one file. So we'll do this. Here, we're testing at 30 seconds past the minute. Should put the second hand at halfway around the clock. Which should be math.pi, because we're saying a full turn is 2 pi radians, right? So halfway would be 1 pi radians. Had some training, so we'll watch till the end. Oh yeah, no worries, man. How was your training? Was it good? Over anything interesting? Did you learn something new? Alright, we'll copy this. Go over here. And then let's just comment these out, so we're not worried about them. Man, NeoVim's running really slow for me. I'm gonna restart it. And then we need package test.go. So we gotta go over here. We're gonna define a function, seconds in radians. That takes into some time and returns a float. In this case, we'll return 0. Also, we'll turn Copilot off, because Copilot has probably seen this code before somewhere. Lucky for it. Okay. It was a waste of time. Oh, that's the worst kind of training. That's the worst kind of training, man. Seconds in. Did I not? Oh, radiations? No, not radiations. Radians. Okay, so we wanted 3.14, which is pi, obviously, but we got 0, so we need to fix that. Well, let's just return math.pi, why don't we? Okay, there is part of me that wants to call a little bullshit on Chris James here. Like, I want to know, like, if I come and shadow you for a day, do you really write code this way? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, do you really do this when you're at work every day? You write code this pedantically? I mean, maybe he does, but rename parameter. No, I don't want to do that quite yet, because we are going to use that. Nothing needs refactoring yet. Repeat for new requirements. Now we can extend the test to cover a few more scenarios. I'm going to skip forward a bit and show some already refactored test code. It should be clear enough how I got here. Okay, so he's got time. I don't know what this is, though. Simple time. I'm not sure what that must be a helper function. Yeah, here's this helper function and another helper function there. So he's just building a test name, and then he's also building a simple time. Excuse me. Hours, minutes, seconds. So it's always on October. It's always the 28th, and then in this case, it's 30 seconds past midnight, I think is what that is. And this is midnight. And this is 45 seconds after midnight. And this is 7 seconds. What is 3.12 though? What is that? What is the first argument to time date? Date takes a year, a month. So he's just randomly sticking years in there, I guess. Hey, what's up, Pablo? Caught the end? Yeah, we're kind of we were trying to get to a good stopping place. I haven't found a good place yet, but yeah, we should be wrapping up here in a little bit. I don't have to work today. I took off today, tomorrow, and Thursday just to hang out at home and watch .NET Conf all day. Well, not really all day. I think it starts at 10 and goes till 8, or it starts at 11 and goes till 8. So I don't really have to rush off, but I would like to hang out with my kids for a bit before they go to school for the day. 312 after Christ. Yeah, I wonder why this seems like random. I wonder if there's something important about those years that he chose. Are you going to stream more today, or is this it? I think this will probably be it. I mean, I'd like to just kind of hang out and be kind of an observer of the .NET Conf stuff, you know? So no, at this point, I don't have any plans to do any more streaming. I might make a video today. I'd like to make some more videos around .NET 10. I think that'd be fun to do. But yeah, I'd like to. I mean, I'd keep streaming, but I want to actually go up and because my kids usually leave the house like at a little after 8 o'clock. So I'd like to spend an hour just being around them. Are you going to be streaming NetConf? I mean, I could. I mean, would you guys be interested in doing that? Like having a little watch party? I actually don't know what the rules are around that. I think it's okay to stream other people's streams. Probably have to be careful of any music. Steven, check the Discord. Content plus.net. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that, man. Especially when you're spending all your time in GoLand. Okay, what do I need to do? So I have my tests, and then what do I need to do now? Just run them, I guess? Yeah, they should all fail. So... Great. We have failing tests. Okay, time to implement all that math stuff we were talking about above. So how are we going to implement this? So we're going to get the seconds, right? And we're going to cast that, I guess, to a float 64. And then we're going to do that math that we talked about. So we're going to say the number of seconds times math.pi divided by 30. So 1 second is equal to 2 pi divided by 60 radians, because a full turn of our circle we said is 2 pi radians. And we're going to divide the circle up into 60 positions. And then if we cancel out the 2 and the 60, obviously, right? So all he did was simplify. That's, just basic, algebra. He just removed the 2 and made it pi 30. Because that's the same number, right? So 2 pi divided by 60 is the same number as pi divided by 330. Multiply that by the number of seconds, and we should now have all the tests passing. Okay, so let's implement this. Who knew trigonometry could come in handy for drawing SVGs? Trig and algebra. Although, I don't think this is probably the best way to introduce programming to somebody. Let's see, wanted 3.14. Oh, this is off by like a very, very small amount. Why is it off by such a small amount? Wait, what? Floats are horrible. Oh, yes. Okay, we have hit floating point issues. Pablo, I think it's fine if you commentate on top and not stream directly. Okay, yeah. If you guys would be interested in a little watch party, I wouldn't mind doing that. The sessions look pretty good. I probably wouldn't do all day, but we could do some of the more interesting ones maybe. .NET Conf I think they posted the agenda. Free virtual events. Yeah. Where's the agenda? There we go. Okay, so it starts at 10. So this will just kind of be the keynote here. And then I'm sure the first few talks will be kind of what's new. Let's see, build better apps with Blazor server. So what if we came back and we did like a 10 to 2 stream? We'd catch like the first couple hours of the conference. I mean, I'm not asking you guys to commit to it. I'm just saying if you guys would be interested in that, I would totally do it. Did you check the images yet? No, I haven't looked. Maybe just some sessions. Yeah, maybe we do 10 to 2 and I can hang out and eat lunch and watch .NET Conf. And obviously, if you guys want to come hang out, that's fine, but definitely no pressure to. Unholy Faith. What's up with you, nerd? I will happily claim the title of nerd. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be good. This will be good. The Visual Studio Debugger session, that will probably be good. Real world .NET profiling, that will be good. I think profiling debugging are skills that aren't sexy, but man, if you're good at them, woo, can make you invaluable for doing when you get into like the really complex kind of solutions where you have to debug really complicated systems and there's not a great way to do that. Yeah. Okay, well look out for a stream around 10 o'clock then from me. I'll plan on doing that. If that's the case, I think then I'll call this good for now. We know we're at the problem where we have floating point arithmetic screwing us over, and we'll just come back and pick up on this tomorrow morning. So let's do our normal wrap-up stuff. So how many people we got here today at the end of the stream? Got 13. Hey, I'll take 13. What time zone is it again? I'm in Central Standard, so it'd be 10 a.m. CST for me. I'd say keynote's gonna be great. Yeah, the keynotes are always the best, right? They kind of set the stage for everything. Yeah. MCP for .NET sounds fun too. Yeah, give me all the MCP, right? The fix is a line of code. Is it really? Okay, let's fix it then real quick. There are 2 ways around it. Live with it. Refactor our function by refactoring our equation. Okay, so instead of numbers of seconds times pi divided by 30, we can write pi divided by 30 divided by number of seconds? A note on dividing by 0. Computers often don't like dividing by 0 because infinity is a bit strange. if in Go, if you try to explicitly divide by 0, you'll get a compilation error. Obviously, the compiler can't always predict that you'll divide by 0, such as our t.seconds. Try this. It will print infinity. Okay, so I literally just need to swap how I'm doing the calculation. So take this, we'll stick it here. Booyah, nice. All right, we got passing all our tests. Look at us calculating converting seconds to radians. Just killing this Go programming thing. All right. Okay, so my plan will be if you're around later today and you want to hang out, watch .NET Conf with me while I jabber on about what I think about it. Please feel free to stop on by. Otherwise, no pressure. Everyone has lives. Do what you need to. Testify has a roughly equal check. Oh, that might be nice. Seconds to radians will kill me. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting problem to introduce to somebody who's learning to program. Like to me, this would make somebody run for the hills, I would think, but maybe not. All right. Well, I love Lamp. I'm glad you're back, but I'm leaving. So if you're still here, I appreciate it a lot, guys. I'm gonna run upstairs and drink some more coffee, drink some water, maybe eat some breakfast, talk to my family, get my kids off to school, and then I'll come back around, I don't know, 10 o'clock, and we'll go from 10 to 2 or something like that for an afternoon stream. If you're around then, please stop in. No pressure though. What was I gonna say? Discord. So if you want to hang out with us outside of the stream, Discord's probably the best place for that. I'll drop the link in the chat. As far as my typical stream schedule, most of my streaming is done between 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time and 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's every day of the week. On the weekends, I might go a little bit longer, but if you're new here and you want to kind of know, like, when should we look to find Steven online, that's the best time. Obviously, you can find me in the comments of a short or a video. I always try to reply there too. And with that, I think I'll leave you guys. Bye, Love Lamp. Bye, Stefan. See you, Pablo. Thanks for making it to the end of the stream, man. I appreciate that. See you, Artwork Studios. Bye, Harsh. Anybody else who's still here? I hope you guys have a great rest of your, what is it, Tuesday. And if it's already Wednesday for you, have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys. Appreciate y'all.